This is the story about the first ACO Silo, which was built on the Carl Olstad farm near Hanska, Minnesota. If you have driven across the upper Midwest, you may have come across an ACO silo. The easiest way to identify one of these silos are the letters A, C, O at the top. Most people figure these letters stand for something, so they guess things like apples, corn, and oats. If that happened to be your guess, you would be wrong. In this video, I will answer what the letters ACO stand for. I will also discuss where these silo blocks were produced, how many were built, and give you more information about the very first one. Finally, I will also give more information about Carl Olstad. To begin, the letters ACO are the initials for the man whose brickyard designed and built the hollow clay block for the silos. His name was Adolf Casimir Ochs, and his brickyard was in Springfield, Minnesota. Mr. Ochs was born June 2, 1857, and lived until March 8, 1940. His brickyard was known as the A.C. Oakes Brick and Tile Company, and his ACO initials became regionally famous. The Oakes Brick and Tile Company produced regular bricks, drain tile, and hollow blocks. Oakes believed his products should be used for every building on the farm. Springfield is located in southwest Minnesota, and it is a relatively small town. However, Oakes Brick and Tile was a big company. Its ACO silos were built at every red and yellow star on this map. So ACO silos were constructed in North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and of course Minnesota. Most of the more distant silo locations were near railroad lines, as the hollow clay blocks were transported mainly by train. Springfield is located in the western part of Brown County, Minnesota. The first ACO silo was built on the Carl Olstad farm in Hanska, which was located in the eastern part of Brown County. Looking more closely at the Hanska area, the Carl Olstad farm was actually located about 3 miles west of town. Carl Olstad was born February 10, 1875 at Hanska. He was the son of Peter and Elizabeth Olstad, who had left Norway in the late 1860s. The Olstads had 4 children in America, and Carl was the second child. This 1899 photograph shows the Olstad family. Carl was the oldest son and is shown in the upper right. His father Peter, mother Elizabeth, sister Jenny, brother Casper, and brother John were also pictured. Finally, his mother's brother Knut was also shown. Knut also lived with the family. This 1886 plat map shows where the Peter Olstad farm was located. It too was west of Hanska. However, the town of Hanska was not incorporated as a village until 1901, so Hanska is not on this map. Uncle Knut's farm was located just west of Peter's farm. Peter Olstad, Carl's father, was a carpenter by trade and built several barns in the Hanska area. Peter also built a number of Lutheran churches, including the Lake Hanska Lutheran Church, shown here. Carl grew up helping on the family farm and developed a love for farming. He attended the University of Minnesota's Agricultural School, where he graduated in 1897. Carl married Lena Brood on May 30th, 1900, and the couple would go on to have 3 children, Porter, Frida, and Ida. Ida died fairly young. Carl also moved into his Uncle Knut's farm in 1900. At that time, only a few small buildings were located on the farm. Knut would die a little over 10 years later, and Carl inherited the farm. Naming farms was a big thing at the time, and Carl decided to name his farm the Cedar Lodge Farm. Carl was involved in many different things. First of all, he raised a herd of Guernsey dairy cows. He was a member of the Brown County Farmers Club and the Minnesota Farmers Institute, and he conducted speeches for both. Carl was involved with the Hanska Rural Telephone Company and the Hanska Linden Store. Both were fairly small, rural enterprises, but essential for the people in that area. Since he maintained a dairy herd, Karl also became active in the Hanska and Linden Creamery. Finally, the Olstads were firm believers in the value of an education. Karl was a longtime member of the Hanska School Board. This is a picture of the Carl Olstad farm with the First ACO Silo in the back left. Multiple sources, like this one, say the silo was built in 1904. The silo is 16 feet wide and 30 feet tall. The Olstad ACO silo was constructed of curved, hollow clay blocks, which were 4 inches thick, 8 inches wide, and 12 inches long. Although not exactly the same, this picture gives an idea what a curved hollow clay block looked like. The hollow clay blocks were a burnt orange color. As for the first ACO silo top, the roof was constructed of wood. Rafters were used as supports, with common roof boards over the top. The center of the roof was 4 feet higher than the edges. The wooden roof was the weak spot of this first silo, as the wood was weaker than his clay blocks. Wood could also rot. The roofs on later ACO silos were made of brick, and the brick was cemented over on the outside as an added precaution. This is a schematic drawing of the Olstad silo and barn, which shows it was built from west to east, with the silo attached to the southwest corner. Silo construction became a very successful part of the Oakes Brick and Tile Company. Although this map is meant to show the areal extent of the ACO silo empire, hundreds of other ACO silos were built across this area. However, the greatest concentration was across southwest Minnesota. A good majority of them still stand today. As of 2020, the original 1904 Olstad ACO silo no longer remains. However, another silo was built on the farmstead, and that one does still stand, as shown here. Throughout Carl Olstad's life, he kept a strong bond with the University of Minnesota and its agricultural department. This photo shows him meeting with one of their agronomists. In 1926, Karl was awarded the Master Farmer of Minnesota designation. He would have been 51 years old at that time. In 1937, Karl returned to the University of Minnesota for his 40th year class reunion. I believe Karl was located in the front left, and he would have been 62 years old at the time. If you look closely, the group posed in front of a building with an arch. This was one of the agricultural buildings on the St. Paul campus that no longer stands today. Carl Olstad died on September 1, 1960, at the age of 85 years. If you love ACO silos as much as I do, you can find items like this poster, available for sale on my website. That concludes the video. Please check out my websites at mnbricks.com and chaskabrick.com.